Today, I'm going to show you how to get started with Data Mechanics Delight. Delight is a free and cross-platform Spark UI replacement with new metrics and visualizations that should make Spark development much more easy. We're going to be releasing this project in stages. Today, Delight consists of a free hosted Spark history server, so basically just the Spark UI. Starting in January, we're going to be adding new screens with new metrics and visualizations. Okay, what's the architecture of the project? It consists of an open source Spark listener, which is basically an agent that will run within your Spark application, within your Spark infrastructure, wherever it is, in the cloud or on-premise, commercial or open source. This agent is going to stream Spark event logs to our backend. What are these logs? This is really metadata about your Spark application, like, oh, this task finished at this time, it wrote that many records, it wrote that many shuffle files, and so on. It's really non-sensitive data. But this data is going to be sent securely over HTTPS and then stored securely on our side and served to you through a web app. Okay, let's get started. So how do we use this? First, we're going to sign up on the web app. Here, we're going to sign in with Google, and I'm going to use my company Google account so that I share a single dashboard with all my colleagues. Here under Settings, I'm going to create an access token. This token is going to be necessary later as an input configuration to the agent. Now that this is done, we can now retrieve the installation instructions specific to our Spark platform. So our GitHub page has a few different examples, different Spark submit instructions for EMR, for Dataproc, for Spark on Kubernetes. Let's look at EMR as an example. So the installation is pretty easy. All we need to do is pass in a few Spark submit options to tell Spark how to download the Delight listener and to pass in the secret that we just created. All right, let's do this on EMR. So let's do a step execution with the Spark application. And here I'm going to first paste in the secret that we created earlier. And now I'm going to paste in the rest of the configuration. Here, basically, this is all we had to do. I'm just going to paste in one last thing, and this is the definition of my Spark application, but here you would just configure EMR like you typically do. All right, this is it. I'm going to click Create Cluster. Now, while this application runs, let's just fast forward in time and assume that the application is already finished. Basically, as soon as the application finishes on EMR, it's going to appear here on the dashboard, and you're going to see a new line with some statistics, like, oh, how much data did it read, how much data did it write, what CPU resources were used overall, and what percentage of the CPU resources were actually used to run Spark tasks. If we click on this line, this is going to open up the traditional Spark UI. And this is really the current state of the project. It's a free hosted Spark history server that gives you access to the Spark UI, even a long time after your application is finished. We hope this will be useful to some of you so that you don't need to host the Spark history server yourself. But obviously, we're even more excited about the next steps for the project. So starting in January, we're going to be releasing basically these new screens, which would include CPU metrics, memory metrics, and just new visualizations to improve your Spark developer experience. So stay tuned for the next steps. Thank you.